Good afternoon, Tan Sri. Netaji Welfare Foundation is the midst of building up a website so that we can go up international level. So these websites are based on the Netaji's participation in INA and Netaji's participation in Malaya, Myanmar, and all of that. As we understand, Tan Sri also very much was an INA veteran. So probably Tan Sri can recall your journey with INA and Netaji. Please, Tan Sri.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was about 14 plus, I think, when I got to know what's going on in the country. I used to read papers. So in that, read about Netaji in the country and starting an army to go and free India. As Indian National Army. So I was drawn by that spirit, and several meetings I was able to attend those days, So when I was about 15, 1944, April, I was just turning 15.
Yeah. Tan Sri was in Bagan Serai. Where was Tan Sri?
It was in Telekintan.
Telekintan. Okay, Telekintan.
Telekintan, and then I, without the approval of my father, I went and joined the INA, and then one fine day I was asked to leave Telekintan and go to Singapore. No, go to Tanjaramuttan. There was the camp. That's a training camp.
Okay.
So my father was surprised, and then he made a lot of objections, but he didn't succeed. I succeeded in my art.
In convincing him.
So I joined that training camp in Tanjaramuttan. Tanjaramuttan was the training camp, training of INA veterans.
Oh, okay.
The initial training, After about 3 or 4 months training there, then a group of officers came from Singapore to the camp, and they wanted to interview some army people to be taken to Singapore to be trained as NCOs, non-commissioned officers. This is a routine thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And there were about 50 people, 50 of us. In the camp there were about maybe about 1,200 sepoys.
In Tanjaramuttan camp.
Tanjaramuttan camp.
Yeah.
Next to that, the mental hospital.
Mental hospital. Okay.
Every day we watch out for marching. We used to pass the mental people, and all the mental people inside the hospital will shake hands.
Will wave at you. Okay.
Because we were in army uniform, so I don't know what they thought of us. So that's how my life started. Then one day a group of officers came from Singapore. They wanted to interview a few army people to be trained as NCOs, non-commissioned officers. So about 50 of us were interviewed, and they selected 12, and I was one among them. And we were taken to Singapore, the NCO training camp. This is called Azhar School, the name.
Okay.
We had 2 companies, there one Delhi company, one Bahadur company. So I was assigned in the Delhi company.
Singapore Nee Soon camp.
Nee Soon camp. It's called Nee Soon camp.
Okay.
It's a 2 bungalows, That's
okay.
all.
Oh, okay.
It was not meant to be a army camp or barracks or anything. So 2 big bungalows, millionaires bungalows.
Okay.
Opposite there was a big padang.
Okay, all right.
So that was a training field for us.
Okay.
And I happened to be in Delhi company. So we completed 9 months training course.
9 months. So quite a long time.
What happened was, at the end of the course they usually have an examination, both vocal and also written examination. I came top in my company. So they retained me there.
Okay.
To instruct others when they come to instruct train others.
Okay.
So until the war ended, I was in the Nee Soon camp. And in fact, it was called Azhar School because it was training NCOs.
Oh, okay.
That's why it was called Azhar School.
Azhar School. Oh,
Azhar School, Delhi company, Bahadur company.
Okay.
There were 2 companies. And when after the 9 months training, I came the top, and I was asked to lead the passing out parade.
Oh, okay.
Netaji was supposed to come and receive, hand over a flag or something like that. But that never happened because Netaji couldn't make it. And by the time war happened, the war also came to an end. And while there, I had my experience as a NCO, non-commissioned officer, and from there I was also asked to train for a officers training school. So 12 of us were trained, picked up and given special training. And two of the 12 were selected, but I was not selected. One Jagjit Singh and one Ratnavelu, two of them were selected, sent to OTS, Officers Training School in Battupahar at the time. I was retained there as an instructor to train the incoming
officers. Oh, okay. So besides that, Tan Sri may have encounter with Netaji. Maybe, I'm not so sure. Whether you've seen him, you have
I think I was maybe unfortunate, very unfortunate, because I was being trained. Every time there is a training period is completed, there is a passing out period.
Okay.
Somebody must come and receive a flag or give a flag or something like that. I was asked to lead that.
The marching.
To passing out march, and then hand over the flag to Netaji.
Yes.
And for that every day they will be training, and we have to give
command. The
throat all gets sore. I can remember my friend on Marimuthu used to crush black pepper and put it into my throat. I was only about 15 or 16 years old then. But that never happened again because Netaji couldn't come, and by the time the war came to an end. So when in the SR school, when all the NCOs were trained, they were all sent out. I was retained to train the new group which was coming in. And by that time that happened, and it was already about July, August. The whole thing came to an end.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
Then in August 1945, I left Singapore and came to Bagan Sarai, where my father was. That's the end of INA.
Okay. So, from your coming to know the thought of Netaji, what do you think about Netaji's sacrifice to independence of India? From your point of view, what do you think about him?
At that time, Netaji, for the people who were in the INA, he was a leader. I mean, if you Gandhiji or Nehruji, they were nothing for us. Our leader was only Netaji.
Oh, I see.
Netaji means Netaji, everybody is like mantra, word mantra.
Oh, okay.
And he had a great administration respect from the people, from the army.
So, what do you think of his prowess to get the support of the Japanese and the German to jointly free India? What do you think? What is his? What attracted him towards Japan, or Japan? What do you think Japan attracted him?
You see, I mean, knowing history, India was under British.
Okay.
Netaji's idea is to free India from the British.
Okay.
So I think he got the friendship of Japanese government and also German, because they were anti-British. So
Axis army, allied versus Axis.
They were prepared to help Netaji get rid of British people from India. That's how he must have understood. Must have come to an understanding with them. But even that time, people said the Japanese are using Netaji, it was anti-propaganda, using Netaji to get into India and so on. But that wasn't the case. Netaji would have never given up for that. I mean, he was only enlisting the help of Japanese to free India. And he had no money, but I don't know where he got his support from. Maybe Germany must have been supporting. Japanese government full support for INA. Well, it is the ability of Netaji's personality, this and that, that was able to attract and enlist the support of people, Germany and Japanese government. So for that itself, we must appreciate. Yeah, those people who were in the INA, they had a lot of respect and admiration for Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose.
Yeah, yeah. So, from your memory, how many of the Malayan Indian do you think has joined him? From your estimate, about
there was a talk about 30,000.
30,000, eh? The Malayan Indian, beside the surrendered Indian soldiers.
Yeah, but they were all mainly the surrendered Indian Army, British Indian Army people who they were prisoners, in Singapore.
Singapore, yes, yes.
When Netaji started the INA, I think he must have offered those who want to join the INA, they can. But somehow the British Indian Army joined. Some of them didn't.
Okay, yeah.
They still owed allegiance to the
British Crown.
British.
Yeah, yeah. British.
But our trainers were all ex-Indian.
Indian, eh?
Ex-British Indian Army people.
Oh, the trainers. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but quite majority of the Malayan Indian, the civilian joined Netaji INA, I think. It was including
civilians.
Many of the civilians.
I was only about 15 years old then.
Yes, yes, yes.
A lot of people, estate workers also joined. People who were in school, high schools and so on, they all joined. A mixture of people. In fact, when I joined, I went to Tanjaramutan camp first of all. Then, as I said earlier, a group from Singapore came, interviewed some people, and I was one of the 12 candidates to be selected to go to the Ozar school to be trained as NCO. And there again, I was also further given training to go to the OTS. I had only completed standard 3 at the time.
Yeah.
There was not enough education for me, but somehow they found I had a little bit of leadership quality, I think.
Okay. I see, understand. So, that was Tan Sri's experience with the real Netaji and INA itself. Then, of course, India got independent.
In the passing out parade, before I tell you, the passing out parade that was going to happen in Singapore Azhar School, I was selected to lead the passing out parade.
Yes. Okay.
And Netaji was supposed to come
and
to accept
flag from you.
The flag from us. But that also again didn't happen because of the war came to an end by the time.
I see. What would be INA's soldiers' contribution thereon to history of Malaya independence or the Indian history in this country? What do you think? What will be their?
I think INA contributed partly a major contribution for India's independence. This is the Prime Minister of Attlee.
Yes.
British Prime Minister Attlee. He seems to have said, and I heard that his interview. Somebody asked him, why you all gave independence in 1947 so early to India. He said, and the questioner also asked, is it because of revolution in India, Gandhiji, this and that? He said, no, not because of Gandhiji. He said, it's because of INA, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. When these people go to India, we knew that we can't hold India anymore. So, from that interview, I think Netaji, INA played a very important role in the British coming to the decision to hand over India.
So, how about the INA, the veterans joining the local politics, like MIC? I think they also played a good role. The locals, MIC, the Indian INA, the veterans who later joined, their contribution towards MIC and thereon in Malaya.
I think people from the INA, they were all mainly interested in the community, in the national service and so on. Most of the trade unions and political parties and so on in this country were the people who who started this shown interest just joined from INA people.
So,
INA.
so they were
The spirit created during the INA
Mhm.
also played after the war.
after the war, and they also give a very major participation in the in the formation of MIC maybe. Yeah,
Of
there are a
course,
lot,
P.P. Narayanan was from INA,
okay.
the trade union leader.
Yeah.
Many of the leaders, subsequent leaders after the war,
Mhm.
were from INA.
Okay, thank you, Tan Sri, for your insight.
One
Ah,
question,
ah.
they are asking what is the Tan Sri's opinion or rather vision
Ah.
for the youth now, based on for the future generations to come. What is his advice?
Okay, okay, Tan Sri, because
On the website,
Ah.
we are actually inviting people to take the Netaji Foundation to the next level.
Okay,
So,
oh.
see what you advise.
Okay. Tan Sri, of course, Tan Sri, a real veteran INA soldier, and then thereon, Tan Sri has played a major role in corporate sector the last 40-50 years in Malaysia, and we are trying to inculcate some kind of the same spirit towards the young generation, so that they also will have will look up for the better future for the Indians in this country. So probably Tan Sri can give one or two words for the youth in this country to continue our struggle, our probably sacrificial struggle towards Malaysia, maybe next 30-40 years. What is that?
That I think you must go to a political leader.
Okay. Maybe Tan Sri can give small advice to the young young boys, I think
Well, motivation. Motivation. If you, first of all, you must have a good base, good education,
yeah.
and then get an interest in the community.
Yes.
Where you're not only thinking about yourself, you're thinking about others around you. If you have that kind of motivation, interest, surely you will get into public service, and through that, you will do something that's useful for the country.
So so education is very important, especially as a basic
Of course.
stepping stone. So probably
Nowadays, you don't have to stress. Automatically, everybody gets to school. 30-40 years ago, that wasn't happening.
okay, now we have a good education opportunity.
Yeah.
So our youth should use this opportunity to get educated themselves,
Yeah.
and thereon probably can serve better.